Okay, so I'll make a start, all right? I hope there's some useful ideas there as far as just a little bit of a better understanding about how your brain works so you can start to use it more effectively. But what I want to talk about now is really how our mind works, okay, how our thinking works. Because this really applies to any area of your life that you want to get better at, okay? Not just exams, but just anything that you're interested in. Yeah.
Let's go get a drink.
If you want, all right? So, as I asked you before, if you're interested in sports or music or drama, any kind of performance that you have, maybe you've got an interest outside of school that's really random, you know, like, I don't know, mountain biking or snowboarding or taekwondo or martial arts, something like this, right? Whatever you're interested in, okay, then this will be useful for you. Because one of the things, as far as coming back to exams, is that we know in order to do well on a day, an exam is a performance, yeah? You know, you're in this room, you're having to do something quite complex. You're having to stay calm, remember information, recall it, write furiously, all of that stuff, right? Understanding information, all of that is quite a lot of skills that you need to learn to develop, okay? It takes a little while, especially if you're you're just starting out on exams. It takes a while for your brain to wire in the absolute ideal response. But it's all about preparation beforehand that's going to determine how well you're going to do on that day, on that moment of time, right? 3 hours in this room. It's the same with the Saturday morning sports performance. It's how you've practiced through the week and through the weeks that determines how well you can do on Saturday morning, right? So it's all about preparation. But one of the things that I want you to think about is that as you're trying to get really good at something, anything that you're interested in, that if you could start to use the opportunity in the future where you know you've got a performance coming up, some kind of, you're going to be tested in some way, that it's an opportunity to extend the ideas of how good you are, you see? Because right now you all know how good you are academically at maths and science and music and all of those subjects that you're doing, right? But what would it be, how would it be if you were to able to think of yourself, okay, that I've got an exam coming up, I'm going to do, I'm not going to just give it my best shot, I'm actually going to do better than I've ever done before, right? Better than I've ever done before, trying to extend these ideas of how good you are. Okay? And that's really what excellence is about. It's about getting really, really good at something. But there's a process that we go through, okay, when we're learning to get good at something. And it's like a 4-stage process that when we're starting out, anything new, learning something new. Who's had new subjects this year you've never done before? Yeah? Okay, quite a few of you. And can I ask, who here has learned or is learning to drive a car? Okay, quite a few of you as well, all right? So let's draw a comparison between, say, learning a new subject in school or learning to drive a car. Because as far as our brain is concerned, it's basically the same, right? What happens is your brain starts to wire in, as you're starting to practice this thing, it starts to wire in the response that you want. But when we start out, we're generally not very good at it, okay? We call it unconscious incompetence. Incompetence means we're not good at it. Unconscious means we're not aware that we're not good at it because we've never done it before, right? So how are we going to know? It's a new subject or we're just starting to learn? Now, do you guys remember when you first started to learn to drive this car, how it was? Yeah? Were you like, like revving it up, and like if it's a manual car, you're going to have to let out the clutch and it's like boom, 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 and you're bunny hopping it or stall it or... Has anyone ever crashed a car? Has anyone crashed a car? Yeah? Yeah, a few hands get up. Yeah? That happens, right? We're not good at it because our brain hasn't had enough time to wire in how to do all these things. I've got to steer, you've got to do it, it's complex, right? 5 different things. I've got to look where I want to go, steer, listen to instructions, changing gears, my feet are doing all of this. It takes a while for that to happen, okay, to wire it in. It's the same with learning a new subject. You might get a new, all of this language and all of these ideas that you've never had any idea before about, and it's going to be like, whoa, it takes a little while for your brain to understand it. But what happens is, as you continue, if you decide to continue practicing, you go into the next stage, which is called conscious incompetence. Conscious means I start to see myself not good at it. Yeah? Do you remember how you felt when you were learning to drive a car, and you were like, okay, I'm learning to drive this car, and you're bunny hopping it and stuff, and it's like, it's so embarrassing, right? And frustrating. And you're like, why can't I get this? I'm trying to get this, and it's like, boom, ba-doom, 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 And you see like on the street, and your friends are like, and you're like, God, I've got to get this going. Right? It's not a very pleasant place to be in, isn't it? Is it? And it may be the same when you're learning a new subject, that you get assignments back, right? And it's like, you don't have a very good grade, and it's like, oh goodness, maybe I'm not good at this subject, you know. Because what can happen is if we see ourselves not good at something, it's very easy to look at it, look at the evidence and go, oh well, I'm just not good at maths. I just can't write good essays. I just can't, like who can't draw in this group? Who can't draw, right? Where did that come from? You know, were you like born not being able to draw? Some of you going, yeah. No, you see, you've learned that along the way, but you've forgotten it, okay? Because, you know, this is how it works. If you can imagine this situation, if you talk to little kids, all little kids love drawing, right? You know, 4-year-old, 4 years, imagine you're 4 years old and you're at kindergarten, okay? Situation like this is where it comes from. You're 4 years old, you love horses, okay? You're into horses, and because your big sister, who's 7, okay, she's into horses too, and you're really excited because she knows all about horses, right? She's an authority, she's 7, yeah? And you're like, whoa. Now you're really excited because you're going to draw a horse at kindy for your sister, right? So you're like, yeah, I love drawing, and I'm drawing away, and I'm drawing this horse, and you're getting your fingers in there, and lots of paint and colours, and having a good time, right? Really excited. You go home, and you show your big sister, look, I drew a horse for you. And your sister's like, that's not a horse, that's a scribble. And you're like, oh, I can't draw. You decide to. See how it works? Big sister, you believe her, right? She's 7, okay? She's 7, you believe her, yeah? She knows all about, oh, well, she must be right? So you think, I can't draw. That's how it happens. You're 4 years old. You can't remember it. It happens again. You're at primary school, and maybe you're 7, and you're like looking at your friend's one, drawing something in class. Look at yours, oh, yeah, mine doesn't look like hers. Oh, God, yeah, I can't draw. So with all of these situations, and now that you're, you know, like 14, 15, 16, 17, you know, it doesn't matter how old you are. I'm nearly 41, right? It doesn't matter how old you are, I can't draw either, see? As soon as you make a decision about how you are, you see the evidence, you go, oh, well, I just can't draw. It becomes a belief, and it locks into your brain this idea about how you are, yeah? Thing is, we don't remember when we've made them all the way along, but they're there and they're still influencing how we draw, how we play on a sports field, how we play anything, right? How we do academically. We get stuck, yeah, at that second level because we've seen it. But here's the thing, did you guys who were learning to drive, did you go, you know, as you saw yourself not good at it, did you go, oh well, I just can't drive? Some of you have, yeah. But a lot of you go, no, do you? You go like, I want to learn to drive. Yeah. So why? What's the value in learning to drive? Why do you want to learn to drive? What do you get out of it? Yeah. That's right. I mean, you get around, right? You get around fast, you get around without getting wet. You get to take your friends and stuff. So all of that value, that independence that you saw, all of that value, I really want to learn this, because I want my independence, I want my freedom. You move through to the next stage. You see, you kept practicing to the next stage, which is called conscious competence. It means I'm starting to see myself getting quite good at this now. Yeah, quite good at this now. And those of you, who would say they're quite good driving? They've practiced a lot. Yeah, getting there? You see, what happens is if you keep practicing, what happens is you move into the next stage, which is called unconscious competence. Unconscious means you don't even have to think about it anymore. You just do it. Some of you might be like that. You might get in this car, you're driving away, you're doing like these 5 different things, looking where you want to go, steering, listening to music, talking to your friends, looking for the cops in the rearview mirror. You're like, and you get to where you want to go, and it's like, here I am. You hadn't even noticed, like you passed all of this stuff, you haven't even noticed half of it because you've been talking to your friend. Yeah? That's you, so good at it now that your brain doesn't even have to consciously do it. It just does it. Free-flowing way. Unconscious competence. And it's those of you who have practiced so much on the sports and your sports interests that when you're out in the field or the court, the pitch, whatever, that you don't even have to think about it. You just throw that ball the way that you've rehearsed, see? And it's the same academically, that we can learn to get better at anything, okay, in our music, in our drama, in our history, and all of those subjects, economics and maths and so on. We can learn that. But it takes practice, and you've got to really want to persevere as you see yourself not good at it, see yourself in that second stage, which might be a few hours, might be a few days, okay? That's how we get stuck. So the trick is, from this day on, okay, Next time you're in class and you're like, I don't get it. Oh, I'm just not good at this. I'm dumb at maths. I just can't do that. I can't do it. Yeah, right? All of that self-talk that's about you not being good at something, you gotta stop that. You gotta turn it around and go, okay, it's not that I can't do it. It's just that I'm learning to get this. I'm learning to get this. I'm learning to get this. And it's taking me a bit longer. And all of my friends get it and I don't get it and I'm feeling frustrated and confused. It's like, I've got to stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. You're only going to stay with it if you see the value to push through. Like you see the value of learning to drive a car, see? Because otherwise you'll see, oh, well, I don't care. Yeah? And then you'll stop and that'll be it for the rest of your life, right? Can't draw. We can learn to draw. I could learn to draw. I know I can if I wanted to, but I haven't decided to yet. But we stop ourselves at that second level, okay? So just know that that's a way of thinking. It's a natural learning process. Just, in the days to come, whenever you're feeling frustrated, confused, that's great, yeah? Can you say that? Confusion is good? Can you say confusion's good? Yeah. When you're sitting in class and you're totally confused and you don't get it, you go, Miss, I don't get it, it's great, hey? Yes, yeah? I'm confused. That's good because it's giving yourself a chance for your brain to wire in the understanding, okay? But if you go, oh, well, I don't care, I just don't get it, I'm done, right? That's it, all right? Stop. So, I'm learning to get this, I'm learning to get this, I'm learning to get this.